That's right. Anyway, decent firepower, decent percentage.
Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to my first match in the STRV-103U, the S-Tank prototype. And we have very little idea what we're doing. You can see I was brutally cared for by the jet girl. Little baby Zoe figured I was hungry, and after all the times that I've put food directly into her mouth, she wanted to practice feeding me that plastic egg about 40 or 50 times. There's more to that video. More of the same, I should say. And on that note, the S-Tank is anything but more of the same, excepting the VT-1-2. This is the only vehicle in the game that relies on the hull aiming system. You can see mouse button 5 is telling me that it has disabled hull aiming, which is essential for using the camera while you're driving, and you never need to worry about your turret slewing the wrong direction while you're looking around. You simply don't have one. The cannon is, of course, firmly, affixed to the chassis of the S-Tank, and this is normally a very S4 stealthy tank destroyer, unless you're cutting down a forest of bamboo. In any event, we're making our way toward the sea point, and hopefully not our imminent demise. Judging from the fact that I'm including this first match in a video, well, you might surmise that we don't do terribly, and I think you'll be correct in assuming that. Carrying on. This is an extremely interesting tank to drive. I'm still going to consider it a tank destroyer. I don't care what the Swedes say. I do appreciate the artillery that's available to me and the relatively low spawn point cost. This isn't a medium, or isn't a heavy tank or a heavy tank destroyer after all. Although you have among the best survivability in the game. Looks like it's time to break out the mouse aim, or should I say the hull aiming mechanic, and it's not entirely terrible when we're on rather firm, flat ground. It does bug out a little bit for me in this match, but it seems to be a bit better than it was a few patches ago. Along with slight improvements to the hull aiming mechanism or system, the S-Tank has received a BR increase from 7.3, which was a ludicrous battle rating, to 7.7, which is a bit more reasonable. Our survivability will no longer be best in the game, yet our cannon and fire rate are still very competitive against pretty much anything that we would end up facing. So, let's put our best cannon forward and see what we can do. Excuse me a moment while I rearrange my anatomy. I sit on the floor constantly. Is that an enemy tank? Maybe, maybe not. So my legs are always falling asleep. I also just got my hands spending the golden eagles that I got in this pack. Ugh, what is that? Banana. Ugh, delightful. My toddler, lads and ladies, distributing gifts all across the carpet, floor, walls, drapes, and family members of the Toshio Thunder house. We had a great day today, and little Brooklyn, 2 years old, was a handful all night. We went on many adventures because her tablet was dead, and when she gets tired, she has projects to do. Speaking of projects, the first thing that I did for S-Tank, having myself test-driven it quite a bit while I was trying to make the decision if it was worth trading in my Merkava and some Gaijin coin for this beauty. Since I already test drove the thing extensively, I knew my most important project would be setting up the face on the rear of this medium tank. Sure. I think the only way you could really describe this as a medium tank is if it could conjure the spirits of the dead. This is a tank destroyer, no matter what the Swedes say, or at least a very fancy self-propelled gun. You just have to have a turret to be a tank in my book. But sometimes you don't have to see the enemy to take them down. Looking at where that allied vehicle was firing, we made our best guess and took our best shot. And our worst reload being, I think, 4 seconds flat, always with the autoloader. Never hurts to try. Never hurts to try. What does hurt is getting the gun on target here. Also, not entirely in agreement with the fact that that enemy driver survived, but you live, you learn. You readjust your aim, you readjust your aim, you readjust your aim, and you send it. Well, that wasn't quite as effective as I hoped it would be. Let's be honest, I'm poking... Really? Really? The machine gun, but not the breech? What's in these rounds? Tiny bits of dried pasta? No, that would be Italian. It's probably some sort of disgusting preserved fish. Anyway, beside the fact that we're poking tiny little Swiss cheese holes in the enemy by the well. By the well? I can't talk tonight, sorry. Tongue-tied from all that spitting out pink egg I've been doing today. And tied up now is our aiming system, because the transmission and apparently both engines absorbed that hit. Thank you very much. The Simpson family appreciates that. We're going to be stuck for a good 30 seconds bordering on eternity, depending upon if the enemy gets another shot at us. Interesting as well. Black smoke comes up from our engine. I think that's our engine. That looks oddly close to the crew compartment when we try to maneuver while the engine is down. Maybe that's a visual cue for those of you hoping to use the hull aiming system when it shan't be available. Again, the survivability of this vehicle, quite good. Even airstrikes have a difficult time taking this thing down with its sloped and rather thick roof armor that moves quickly to its quite sloped and reasonably thick hull armor. Survivability is the name of the game, and the unique feature of this tank, welcome to Solamente. Yo, there is only one crew left in this tank, and is the only vehicle in the game that is permitted to operate on a crew of one, something that harkens back to a certain amount of historical relevance in that one crew member can operate this tank in real life. What a fun thing to do. Then again, fighting this battle next to two of your very sleepy friends, of course no one gets hurt in the game of War Thunder, could be a little bit disheartening. Always helps to have a Raketenjagdpanzer 2 pull up and accomplish nothing other than sacrificing his body to Slipperge. And let's play the Tracer game. We win. What's our prize? One more kill. Taking a shot to the rear, surprisingly, doesn't kill us, and I honestly thought it hit us in the front because we didn't die. Second round, looked like it went right into our ammo rack. Nothing. A third. Is there a fourth? Oh. It's a Sonderkraftfahrzeug, and he's already dead. Well, that sort of explains it. The cannon on SDKFZ at 50mm, even with the APHE, and he might have been firing APCR at this battle rating, just doesn't have the post-penetration damage you want it to against ordinary tanks, and with the layers of 30mm rolled homogeneous armor inside the vehicle, in this S-tank, in between all of the major compartments, this is a very difficult vehicle to take down. Have I mentioned that? And of course, that's the only reason we're still alive. Add to that the fact that this has a absolutely fantastic gun. Every round in the tank is in the ready rack for an autoloader that has the aforementioned incredible performance. The vehicle is derpy, odd, unique so far, premium, and stealthy with a reasonable amount of mobility. That's right, it's very much in the contending for Toshio's favorite tank at the moment. TM, patent pending, subject to approval. In any event, I'm just absolutely enjoying this thing, and by enjoying, I mean I've played it in one battle. I had a total blast. I had my adrenaline going by this point with a few kills, and the next thing to see me, possibly my doom, all alone by myself, flankety flanking, and I don't really feel like trying to lock down the enemy spawn. I have convinced myself that's a fool's errand and none too kind to boot, so we'll go give this door wedge to the enemy in whatever a part of their dispensational anatomy would be the least convenient for them. And what I mean by that is we're going to listen around and do a little bit of looky-loo, hope that our low profile keeps us on the down low, and try and hunt down the last of the enemy team. I assume it's the last of the enemy team, while they are quite a bit ahead on victory points, having held key capture zones for a good portion of this match. It looks like they've lost control of the ground at this point, and none too soon. I'm just expecting some sort of ridiculous flak panzer to come around the corner and kill me, and yet what do I see? The mouse tank, my fellow 7.7, and here you see that the meta of War Thunder is completely and utterly, truthfully, skillfully, historically accurately balanced in every single way. There is, of course, very little that Mouse Tank can do in this situation, especially since, well, up until that very moment, he didn't know I existed. The spalling seems appalling still on this armor-piercing round. I must say, APDS has got to be one of the weakest post-penetration rounds in this game. Mouse Driver, playing well, playing smart, playing into my hands nonetheless. There's really not much you can do with this slippery, wiggly fish at close range other than cover your cheeks and hope for your team to come support you. But I'm gonna get me a piece of that pie, if you know what. Really? Is that exactly the same part of the turret that we pierced the first time? Are you sure about that? Yeah, this poor mouse has no team support because his team has been well and truly taken down. Second or third spawn mouse is not a terrible idea. He knows that his team has been pushed back almost to the spawn. He knows he's going to be targeted by everyone, myself being no exception. He knows that merely bouncing, tanking, absorbing, and surviving shots is going to give him spawn points. And he knows that a mouse isn't going to sway this battle anyway. A good stalling maneuver never hurts to use the mouse as an anchor as he tries to secure the last front line for his team. The fight for A, the fight for B, long ago the fight for C. Now, passing into the past, it's time to hunt down the last of the Nazi forces. And I'm constantly aware of the fact that it could be flanked at any moment. Time to get this tank into a concealed location, a nice overwatch, if you please, maybe a little bit of flankety spankety on the enemy advancing forces, and maybe I can pick up one or two more kills. But with 6 already, that's not bad at all for a first fly out. Why not call this a fighter jet? It's about as close to being a fighter jet as it is to being a tank. And yet, the post-penetration damage of these rounds just falling short for me, especially against something as spread out as Coelian. Oh, excuse me. Flak pants are no longer appearing in this film. In any event, we took down piece after piece after piece of his vehicle, but he just has too much crew, and we have too little gun control. That's right, we've lost control of our engine once again. I think the transmission bit the bullet, gave up the ghost this time, so we're stuck repairing once again. But this time, we'll be repairing to the hangar as this match is just about to end, with the rat-a-tat-a-racka-racka of an anti-air giving way to, well, the death of such at the hands of aggressive American CAS and Soviet support. These allies, hand in hand with the neutral zone, have successfully conquered this area. Dropping a smokescreen on our tail in the form of artillery never hurts, especially since I didn't notice smoke system on this vehicle at all. That's rather suspect, but it's hard to disagree with those results. Anyway, that is $16 and 30-some Gaijin coin well spent trading in the Merkava Mark IIB for something that I'll actually be happy to play. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.